Okay. The last topic of the day is we're gonna talk about Mineo's new album, Neverland 2. Guys, we are so diverse, okay? We don't stick with just the comic stuff or the sports stuff
Why do you feel like you have to
or the
tell them that,
politics
brother?
stuff. Because I've never, to be honest with you, I've never seen a show like this before, and that's why I love about the show
Hmm.
is we cover so many broad range of topics
We do
that
cover a
we're
lot.
we're talking about music now today. Today we're going to be
We
talking
are
about music.
talking
We're
about
going to talk
music.
about Andy Mineo. Eric and I have always liked Andy Mineo since we were in college, so that was actually
Hmm.
one of our mutual things that brought us closer as
Hmm.
friends was listening to music
Hmm.
because we had both listened to Lecrae growing up for most of our life,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah, I
um
remember when I found out who Lecrae was, and I was all about Lecrae when it was early on. And then I listened to a lot of Christian rap. I felt like I was the only guy in my high school who listened to Christian rap when I was there. And then I met all these other people who listened to it, and I was like, it's awesome. Um, but yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Anyways,
so the first Neverland actually came out the year we went to
mhm.
college.
Oh, it did,
Our
didn't it?
freshman year, yeah. It came
2013,
out the second semester, 2014.
2014. Wow,
Yeah.
that was a great album too. That was
Yes.
honestly what kicked him off. I mean,
Mhm.
he had his his I forgot his album before that.
Superheroes. Something about superheroes.
Gosh, I can't remember his album before that. What the
And
heck?
we claim to be Andy Mineo fans.
I know, man. Heroes for Sale.
Heroes for Sale.
That's what
There
it
it is. Yeah,
was.
Heroes for Sale. Yeah.
And then he also had his what's it called? It was like unnamed or um let's see. It was where he changed his name because he used to be called
Sea
Sea
Light.
Light.
Yeah.
Formerly known. That's what it was
Formerly
called.
known.
Formerly
Yeah.
known. So he had formerly known, and then he had Heroes for Sale, and then he had Neverland. And I hadn't really listened to him. I actually was not a fan of his like formerly known or Heroes for Sale albums. I liked a little bit of them. There was like a couple songs, but he incorporated a lot of rock into his early stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as big of a fan then, but as his sound evolved, I got more and more into him as he went on. So I'm gonna pull up the list real fast of the soundtrack real fast because I have it here on the side. But yeah, Neverland 2 just came out a couple months ago. Um, and let's see, it starts off with this really that's the album artwork, which I think is dope. I think there's a lot of things I like about the album. I like the artwork a lot. I also I like the beginning of the. I love the "Am I" and "Falling." He's been doing that on a couple of his tracks. He started doing that in, I believe, the first time I heard it was when he did the Arrow album. I think it was the Arrow.
Yeah.
Um, and that he did one that was kind of similar to that, where he did like two parts. But I love the opening to it. It actually got me really hype. But then for me, the next couple songs kind of fell a little flat. Been About It has grown on me a little bit,
Okay.
but it's not my favorite. I feel like they're trying to capitalize off of their other big song that was really big on TikTok. You know what I'm talking
Coming
about?
in hot.
Coming in hot. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to capitalize that.
I don't get why people like that song so much. I didn't like it. The first time I heard it, I was like,
Really,
ugh.
I liked
Yeah.
Coming in Hot a lot. I like Coming in Hot a lot. It got, but the thing is, everybody else started liking it, and I was kind of like, listen, this is an old song. Like, I get that you like it and that it's big on TikTok, but it's been around for a little bit, okay? Like a year in the music world is like a long time. It's like
Yeah.
it's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
it's already been
Yeah.
out. It's been out, okay?
That's
Um,
old.
yeah, yeah. You know the drill with Words Played. I love Words Played whenever he's on an album.
Yeah.
With Andy, to be honest, I loved his one of my favorite albums that I like to go back and listen to is the oh
Magic and Bird.
Magic and
Magic and
Bird.
Bird. The rivalry continues.
I love, and they throw that in there a little bit. They throw a
Yeah.
little bit of that. They're like, they say at the beginning of the song, they're like Magic and Bird, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. Because they compare themselves to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird,
Yeah.
which is what they compare their friendship like, which is awesome. Um, that one was all right. That one's growing on me a little bit too. It's not my favorite. Sorry, hold on just a second. Um, then New Father was okay. I didn't like working on it. I didn't like. I mean, I kind of like working on it. I kind of like it. It's another one. I'm trying to remember how that one goes, to be honest. Um, I didn't like New Father, and I didn't like Nobody's Coming. It just wasn't. It was. It felt really different to me, and I wasn't really as much of a fan. Um, Now, where this kind of got better for me was towards the end. The second half, it was like I liked I liked each one like back to back. So I love Not Gonna Do or Not Gonna Do. Where it's like, here's what we not gonna do. I love the beginning of I love his first line where he's like he's like, here's what we're not gonna do, and he's like, when she shoots in my DMs with those nudes, and then he says, and he's like, I type back to her, my wife got those too, and I'm like, oh, and then he's like, and and he says, and I'm gonna pick hers if I had to choose, and I'm like, oh, it's so good. Like, I don't know, it's just classic Andy Mineo with like the hilarious like sex reference, which I love that he's been doing that in his videos lately, or in his songs the last like couple albums, and I've been really enjoying that because it's just funny. He loves to brag that he's married and that he has a healthy marriage, and I think that's great. That's not what you hear in regular. You don't hear that in regular hip hop music. If you
Yeah.
think about it, it's all about getting all the women and having meaningless sex, and then figuring out what to do with those feelings after you have meaningless sex. And then Andy Mineo's over here just like, man, why don't you just skip the whole feelings part and get married, and then you can have sex because you love this person, and that's what it's about. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about these bad feelings afterwards. And so I love that. I've appreciated that more as I've gotten married. um that's probably Not Gonna Do is probably one of my favorites. uh it Could Be Worse grew on me. I didn't really like it that much when it premiered. Priorities is great. I like Priorities a lot. Um, and anyways, Cross My Heart was good. I really like Trying. Trying has gotten a whole lot better for me as well. Cross My Heart is okay. It's not my favorite. It's all right. But I would say the strength for me, the strong part of the album for me was probably when it hit number 8, and it was
Yeah.
like number 8 all the way down to number 11, like 8, 9, 10, and 11. For me, it was just like back to back. I really liked them.
And 12.
Yeah, yeah, and 12. Sorry, I forgot about 12. The album art is written weird, so I'm kind of like, what? But yeah, all the way down to 12. I liked those. That second half was really strong for me the first time listening. Now, the more I listened to it, and I'm sorry, I promise I'm gonna let Jonathan talk. The more I listened to it, the earlier ones started to feel a little bit better. But I gotta say, it didn't sound like Neverland 1 very much. It didn't sound
Yes.
like
Okay.
Neverland
Yeah.
1 at all. I would say it sounded very different. So I was expecting something else. I wasn't expecting this. But as someone who likes his newer style a lot, I loved The Arrow. I loved The Sword. His 2 EPs he put out, those are really great. I liked his Happy Thoughts album. His Happy Thoughts album was great. I personally really liked that. And then obviously I loved Uncomfortable. That's probably one of my favorite albums. I feel like every time I play that, it always hits really well. Um, and so yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with the album. I'm probably at like a 70-30, maybe 65-35 for me. Like 65% is good. 35, I'm like, I think the biggest hit is that you're calling it Neverland Part 2, and it does not feel like Neverland. The only part that feels like Neverland to me is where he's kind of talking about his childhood a little bit, and he's talking about how he's trying to grow as a person. But that's honestly it's kind of a continual theme throughout his music, to be
Yeah.
honest. I
Yeah.
mean,
Agreed.
it's
Agreed.
kind of always there.
Because
So what do you?
if that's the case, if you're gonna call, if you're saying that, oh, he's calling Neverland because he's still talking about his childhood, then you should basically call every song he does Neverland.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
it just let me start off with the positives. I love
Yeah.
the album. The album was amazing. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay. The second time I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, okay. Wait a minute,
Hmm.
okay. And then now I'm hearing it, I'm like, dang, this is actually kind of fire. This is low key, like really, really, really good.
Hmm.
Um, I'm actually a little bit of the inverse of you. I love the first couple songs. Uh,
Really,
at least
really.
1 through 3, I'll say for sure, I love
Yeah.
those. I was a little disappointed with the Words Play one because I was like, that one's usually he's usually my favorite person on the whenever any Mineo does an album. It's like
Oh
he's
yeah,
usually my favorite
yeah,
person to listen to because I just love the way he plays with words. Obviously,
yeah. I love Words Played a lot. He's also kind of been missing a little bit
yeah,
from a lot of 116 stuff and
yeah,
a lot of Lecrae's record,
yeah,
record company. He usually does a lot of stuff with that, and I don't even know if he's put out an album in a while. So,
yeah.
anyways,
I loved hearing his mom on the track on all the tracks too. I love
I
that
did too.
because
Yeah.
I didn't know much about his mom. I know obviously know about his sister because of one of the songs he put out.
Hmm.
But I didn't know his mom had passed away. That was shocking to me. But
Oh,
then
you didn't
hearing
know that?
her,
Yeah.
yeah, hearing her talk about him and like how he fell in love and how he was as a kid and as a
Hmm.
teenager, I could see the transition of him as a person. Especially the part where she says that he had put his faith in rap, and I was like, wow,
Hmm.
that really tells you where he's come from. Where he
Yeah.
came from was like, I'm gonna be the best rapper of all time, and you can still even hear that in his lyrics where he's like, I really want to go down as one of the greatest, but he's like
Yeah.
now, but I think reality is starting to change his goals
Hmm.
because he's starting to realize, okay, I'm working with like half of what most people work with because I
Hmm.
not as far as talent goes, but just as far as marketing and
Yeah.
streaming and you know publicity and even just beats. Like
Hmm.
he has really, 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 really well done beats, but
Yeah, he does.
it's still not going to be like what like a Drake gets or what like a
Hmm.
Kanye gets or
Hmm.
because he doesn't have the same resources that they have. He doesn't have the same hookups that
They've
they have.
also, if you think about it, they've been around longer too.
Also that, yeah,
Yeah,
he's
they've
still.
been.
I wouldn't say he's new to the game, but he's definitely like he's still like in the middle of his career basically. He's
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
he's not in that latter stage like the rest of those guys who can
Hmm.
just kind of get on name recognition. They don't even have to be good at this point.
Oh
They're
yeah,
not, they're not good. They're just
they just put out an album, and they've been around so long that like literally, if you say you don't like their album, the fans just be like, you're not a true fan. Like you can literally say that.
yeah,
And that's their defense. So.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. So, I love the first 3 songs. A bit about it really grew on me. I watched the video
Hmm.
first, and then I watched the music, and then listened to the song, which I usually
Oh,
normally
okay.
don't do. I normally always try to listen to the songs first before I watch the video. But
Hmm.
the video was so awesome that I really liked the video.
Yeah. See,
And
the video wasn't out when I watched it, and I actually liked it more once I saw the video. Once I saw the video, I
yeah,
liked it
yeah,
more.
yeah. But
So.
that's what a video should be. It should be icing on what was already a good cake.
Yeah. 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 That's true.
And so the song is still really, really good. And I love Lecrae's part. I think Lecrae has really grown so much as an artist and as a rapper. It's just amazing to me. But
Yeah.
also, we can talk about Lecrae later. But also, I just I liked his rap part when he's just like, whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. I'm like, oh
Oh
snap!
yeah.
Like just the whole breakdown of that just that single verse that he does is just
Hmm.
amazing to me. I loved it. Um,
It's a good throwback song.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
and go
Go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. You're just
I was gonna say he also kind of does. That's a little bit of a trend in the album too, because he does that in Falling, in the second song. He does that with all of his albums. Do you remember
yeah.
that? He kind of does that with almost all of his albums. He brings a lot of throwback stuff to his like songs
Some
and things
old
like
hip hop stuff. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I like that a lot. But
yeah. And obviously, so the middle section is where I kind of was. It kind of lost me a little bit. Nobody's coming
mm,
was okay. Working on it was
hmm.
okay. Like, but not gonna do brought me back into the album. It's like, oh snap, we're back. Okay. I think he's just one of the most creative artists I've ever heard before.
Hmm.
Like he's just so
Hmm.
creative in like not only his lyrics, but the way he
Hmm.
structures a song is just so creative. Like
Yeah.
it's like, dang, I would never have thought about doing something like that. Not that I'm an
Hmm.
artist or anything like that
Hmm.
or a rapper, but it's like how would someone think? How would someone even get their mind to think about doing something so
Yeah.
creative like that?
Hmm.
Um, and I love trying. Trying to me was just amazing. It was like,
See,
wow,
trying was one of those really interesting. The first time I listened to it, I was like, it's okay, but the second and third time I listened to that song, I felt the building of it,
yeah,
and that's what I loved about it. That like he starts off so slow, and then when he gets into that cold, like almost like a sprint. Like afterwards, it's literally like he's walking, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
Okay,
just kind of
yeah.
like starts going off into a sprint towards the end of the song where he just starts rapping really quick. I loved that so much. So that one hit me hard later. I was like, oh man, I did not appreciate the song the first time I listened to it because it was very creative. It was very
Yeah.
creative.
I also did say that the more you listen to it, the more you can feel aspects of Neverland. Because one thing I loved about Neverland was it was a very dancing kind of album. Like if
Hmm.
it made you want to get out your seat and like move to the beat and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah, I did.
and to his lyrics as well.
Hmm.
And I was walking out of Best Buy today, and I was listening to this, and I was just like, "Dang, I just feel like I want to get down somewhere because it's like it's so positively upbeat, and like the all the beats hit hard on the song. Like there's
Hmm.
nothing that's like no beats that are kind of like wishy washy. Everything is just like
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang. I'm coming for you. So I really,
Hmm.
really, really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
You want to do some ratings? What we want to do? Like
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna pull up.
platinum stars or something like that?
Well, I was gonna pull this up real fast. It's his if I can find it. So
Oh, also I
hold on.
want to say, and me and you
Hmm.
talked about this, but I felt the album was kind of short. I don't know. It didn't feel like any song was like really given a long, like a four kind of
Yeah.
5 minute sort of song. I don't know that. I mean, I'm probably wrong. It's just my viewing, my ears telling me what I
It
was thinking.
it felt a little short. I would agree
Yeah,
with that. It felt a little short.
I got to
But
13, and I was like, whoa, snap! The album's basically over. Coming in hot is just like an additional song onto the track. It's not really. It's not has no real connection to
yeah,
the album.
yeah,
So
coming in
I was
hot. They
like,
just had to.
I was
It's
like,
one of those
oh.
things where they just had to put it someplace. You know, like that. They basically just had to put it someplace. To
Well,
be
I mean,
honest.
yeah. Also, like you said, it's since it's such a well known
Hmm.
song across not just Christian media people, but also like
Hmm.
the larger country now at this
Hmm.
point. I'm thinking that was a pull for the album. It's like, hey, you like that coming in
Yeah,
hot song? It's on this new
yeah,
album.
yeah. Well, it's also one of those things where it's like so what he does, and he does this with some of his. He's done it with his EPs, but like 1 and 2 are essentially one song.
Yeah,
Am I and Falling because they lead right into the other. Which I love that, but it kind of minimizes a track off of it, right? So
yeah,
instead of having 14, we probably have, we have more like 13 or 12 is what it
yeah. Well,
feels
yeah,
like.
and also 8. I think it's just his mom talking.
Yeah, eight is just his mom talking. Okay, because I was trying to remember that.
Yeah, one of them
Um,
is just his mom talking. I remember
yeah,
that.
which there's nothing bad with that. We're not complaining about the album. It's just kind of
Yeah,
like, that's why it feels shorter.
yeah,
But like if you think about it though, Neverland was even shorter because I'm
yeah.
about to I'm about to share this right now. Um, Here I'm gonna share it real fast. I just wanted to pull up the list. Um, Also Neverland still has kind of his early sound to it. So Neverland was a great song. Paisano's Wildin' is infamous. That's that song. Well, and then also you have You Can't Stop Me. I don't know how you're going to compete with that song. That song's
Yeah,
gone like I think it's gone gold or I can't remember. I want to say it may have gone platinum, but um I don't think it went platinum, but I remember it did really well. He recently got a plaque for it a couple years ago
yeah.
because it did so well. Rewind was good. Rewind's a good song.
Oh man.
All We Got is okay. That one never hit me that great, but Paganini is fire and
Yeah,
Death.
Death of Me was ooh, that was a
Yeah,
great
so
closing album.
it had like one song after the other that was just like boom boom boom. It was just a great album. So it's hard to compete, but this one just style wise, I think it's because he's just evolved. If he would
Yeah,
have made
I
these
agree.
albums closer together, they probably would have sounded more. That's really the only thing I'll knock him for on this. Also, he's been kind of flirting a little bit with this like slow style that I'm not, which he does slow stuff that I like. But for
That's not like
instance,
his whole style, basically.
yeah, Nobody's Coming. That was very like slow, like hip hop, and I didn't really like it. It wasn't really rap. Nobody's Coming wasn't really rap, and I like Andy Mineo the best when he's rapping. Like when he's actually rapping and going through a flow. That's my favorite. But Nobody's Coming is just kind of like dun, 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 dun. I don't know. I was like it's okay. Um New Father I didn't like either. So it's it's getting there. But anyways, yeah. So I mean they're very different as albums
Yeah.
as far as they go if you compare them. But yeah, we could definitely rate it. What are you gonna rate it?
Um, I'm gonna go.
What are we going out of 10 or?
You can just make something up. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
It's
cool.
like it's not like we're real reviewers here.
That's true.
I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go 7 church mice out of 8.
7 church mice. Dang,
Hmm.
that's you liked it that much, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, this is a banging album. I want to say my favorite song is definitely "Falling." It's for sure "Falling."
Am I falling? Am I falling? Am I
His rap in that song is
falling?
just it's
He
exquisite. It's
does
like
he does flow really well.
primo.
I've always liked his flow.
Yeah,
He flows really well. It makes every time he comes out the gate, it just sounds so smooth. And then it always impresses me at sometimes you got people who are just like they do slow rapping, and then there's some people who are kind of somewhere in the middle, and there's some people who are just like Eminem, where they're just like gonna talk really fast all the time, and they're just gonna keep going. And he can kind of do all of them,
yeah,
like he can
yeah.
he can flow so
He's
well.
good at all of them.
Hmm.
Because I think so,
I
I've
remember
definitely heard some people who aren't good at slow rap.
he always surprised me. I watched a video of him doing the Five Fingers of Death.
Yeah, that surprised
Remember
me
that?
too.
And he did really well on the
I
Five
was
Fingers of Death.
shocked.
I felt like he could keep going forever, like for days. I was just like, dang, like and like I saw Lecrae do it and he did okay, but he sang lyrics from his songs. And I was like, you losing points for me. Like I know they're like I've heard lots of people who are like I've heard a lot of professional rappers be like people don't respect the freestyle game anymore cuz people write stuff ahead of time. And I'm like, yeah, but if I've already heard it, like I know you're cheating. Like I can tell you're cheating. Like, you know what I mean? And so I saw Lecrae do it and I was like, okay, that's not that great.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways, so you gave it what, 6 out of 7 or you 7 out of 8 church
Seven
mice?
out of 8 church mice.
Okay. Well, I'm giving it 5 out of 7 Italians.
5 out of 7
So,
Italians. Okay.
yeah, that's it. I'm 5. It's kind of leaning on a 4.5, but I'll give it
Leaning
a
on a
5.
4.5. Wow.
Yeah, but the more I've listened to it, the more I've liked it, so I'll give it a 5 out of 7. I'm a big fan of his, so I've always been like a big critic too. When he does something I don't like, I usually can tell right away. Um, but I've liked. What do you think his last thing I'll say? What do you think your favorite album has been that he's put out recently? Because to be honest, the last 3 years he's given us a lot of music.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would have to go with Uncomfortable. I think that
Really, you
one
think?
was the most complete one. That was the most complete one that I heard from him.
Complete as in like telling a story or like?
Complete as in top to bottom, everything was I rocked with like just about
Mhm.
everything on the track or on the album.
That's fair. That's fair. I gotta say, honestly, I think his two EPs hit me really hard when I listened to them. I really liked the Sword, and I really liked crap. I forgot what the other one was called.
Arrow?
The the Arrow. I really liked those a lot. He was supposed to put out more too of those, but I don't know if they got turned into different projects or if they changed. But he was gonna put out 2 more EPs, then he was gonna compile them into an album, and I think that idea got scrapped. But I don't know. It might not. It might not. He might still be getting more. So but I really really liked those two. Sorry, my eye is itching like crazy. Um, but anyways, yeah. So that I think that's probably where I stand. But it's a really good album. Not my favorite of his, but I think it's good. He's going on tour. I wish he was coming to Oklahoma, but he's not. So